Okay, this is Vince Davis. We're back. This is The Secret, How to Fight Child Protective Services and Win. Let's take another call from Vanita. Vanita, did you have a story to tell or a question to ask?
I have both. So, good evening. I'm calling because, for the longest time I've heard that I've been focusing on the wrong thing. And tonight, after listening to your callers, I realize I have been focusing on the wrong thing. It doesn't really matter what the social worker has done or has not done. What matters is the law. And basically, I'm looking at this. I've had my children now in foster care for 20 months. The original reason why they were put in foster care was because they were detained as I was being detained on a warrant that should not have been issued if I had a court date. But nonetheless, they started a process in which they took my children. My children originally were given to my husband, but my husband let me in the house, not understanding the ramifications of what was going on, because you really don't get answers from CPS, and they're not there to help you. Make a very long story short, they were given to my family originally. My niece, who has MS, who's 40 years old now, but she could not take care of them. So CPS suggested that my sister go through the process of becoming a foster parent, which she did in March of 19, and she still has yet to get custody of my children because she's in a different county. I'm pretty sure of that. We've asked the judge on numerous occasions, and the judge has just outright said no. So I'm going to trial, and I realize that, again, by me focusing so much time, and if anyone's listening, don't focus on what your CPS worker is doing. Focus on the law. And you may not understand the law, so find somebody that you can really grill to answer your questions, to make sure they tell you what's written in the law. We're going to trial on Thursday, and I'm concerned because I do know that from the last time we went to court last month, the sitting-in attorney asked if the CPS worker would be there for my attorney to drill on the witness stand, and also my daughter, who is now 12. When this all started, she was 11. So my daughter, I have only 15-minute calls 3 times a week with all 3 of my children. I have 3. And my daughter kind of implicated to me that she didn't want to. And I have to speak in code because even after all this time, I'm being monitored. And I can see video-wise, she looks at the foster parents every time I try to talk to her about something. And I've been admonished numerous of times by this judge. They didn't ask what I was saying to the child, but they admonished me not to talk about the trial or anything that has to do with the case. So my hands are kind of tied. I just want to make sure that my daughter is there to answer truthfully the questions that my attorney is going to pose to her. I also want to make sure that the social worker is there to be under oath, answer questions. And also, I am late in getting subpoenas out, but the care people, the service providers that were in our case, one of which was my personal therapist, is willing to go and speak on my behalf. So I was not able to get that done. It was all my fault. Trying to figure out how I can still win my case because we're at that 20-month mark. The thing on the table right now is they want to stop the services, even though my husband and I will complete, because CPS did stop our couples therapy. We had 10 to do. We completed successfully 9, even through COVID and all the stuff that was going on, and we have 1 left to do. So we will be doing that Monday. So we will complete the couples therapy component of it. All the rest of the things that they asked me to do, I have successfully done, and I have now graduated DUI school or DUI court, and I'm no longer on formal probation. So I'm trying to figure out how can I help my attorney win this case so that Thursday I don't want to hear anymore. I want my babies back, and I want the ability for the judgment for me not to go home to be lifted.
Okay.
Because I've been out of my home now for
well,
almost 16 months.
Based upon what you've told me, get a pen and a piece of paper, and I'm going to tell you some steps you have to take, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have to do this Monday if your case is for trial on Thursday.
Yes.
Number 1, on Monday, you have to make sure that the social worker and the minor, your daughter, are going to be present to be examined by the attorneys, and so that.
However, that was ordered.
Okay, so
in the last
court. All right, then you don't have to worry about that. The next thing you have to worry about is any subpoenas. You mentioned a therapist. You have to get those subpoenas, and you have to have another adult, not you, not your husband, but another adult. It could be a friend, it could be a family member. Serve those subpoenas on those witnesses so that they will be there on Thursday. Now, you mentioned that your therapist, has a lot to say, or could have a lot to say, and would testify on your behalf. Well, that person obviously is going to need to be present. So if you have a subpoena, you must serve it to him. Now, this is how you serve a subpoena. You walk up and you hand it to the person. Even if the person doesn't want to accept it, like they throw up their hands, it doesn't matter. They're served. An adult, 18 years of age or older, has to do the service. It cannot be you. It cannot be your husband, because he's a part of the case as well. And then a proof of service must be filled out and given to your attorney so that they have proof in case the therapist doesn't show up. Okay?
Uh-huh.
All right.
So how will I win? Is it possible, my question is it possible to win this case based on the cross-examine of all the lies and all the things that they originally had me because I'm an alcoholic? I'm recovered now, 16 months sober, and I have proof. Is there a way to win my case on Thursday based on the cross-examination of the social worker, the therapist, and my child?
The answer is yes. The answer is yes.
Praise the Lord.
Okay.
Thank you. And that day, they would have to release my children from foster care and give them back to myself and my husband.
Yes. If the trial finishes that day and the judge rules in your favor, the kids would come home that day. Hey, Vanita.
That's an if. So if the judge, who's I truly believe the only thing he does is just he's there to sanction whatever CPS tells him to sanction. I don't even believe he even has much information to give or not. But if he is willing to hear, and if he doesn't, then what, Mr. Davis?
Then you have the rights to appeal. Most judges that I've appeared in front of, even if they don't rule it for you, they do have, or they are fair. They're judges that have been elected or appointed, and generally, most judges are fair. And I think that your judge will be fair as well. Vanita, I want to thank you for calling. My engineer is telling me we have to take another break and pay some bills. So everyone, keep listening. When we come back, we're going to have some more calls, some more stories, some more questions.